As a mountain climber, you wouldn't risk your life on equipment that's not properly maintained. As a manufacturing company, why would you risk your plant's profitability on manufacturing equipment that's not properly maintained? Hi, my name is Bo Hagler. I'm the director of QAD's EAM product unit, and today I'd like to show you a workflow within EAM. How production will actually go in and make a request to maintenance. Maintenance will take those requests, prioritize it, and then it ultimately end up to a technician who will receive the request and perform the work and close the work order. I'm a machine operator, and the piece of machinery that I'm running has actually had a problem. And normally I may run down the plant and grab someone in the maintenance department and have them come fix it. The question is it really the item that they should be working on? But now in our new process through EAM, we're going to have the production operator actually go to a terminal and enter in this problem. And it will then be emailed out to a maintenance planner to be dispositioned. So the operator goes in, hits add in the service request module. It notes who he is, B. Hagler. I then can go in and look up the equipment that is having the problem, select it. It knows that Rich Binkowski is the maintenance planner responsible for it. The red fields denote that it's a mandatory field. And we're going to select that this priority is important. We need to make sure maintenance is working on the right items first. And we make a short note of the issue. The filter is clogged. And we're done. So in about 30 seconds, we took a machine operator, entered in a request, and had it emailed out to a maintenance planner. So at this point, I'm going to back out and log in as Rich Binkowski to see what he would see. And he initially gets an email request. If he was not logged into EAM, he would get an email through his corporate mail. But since he's inside of EAM, he'll get it internally. He can go in and look at the mail messages that he has. Goes into the email. And I've set up the mail, which is all customizable to note the equipment, the originator, the problem, and the priority. But you'll notice at the top, I can actually drill down into the service request module. And at this point, I can look at the details. I can then determine that, hey, this is not a duplicate order, and I want to create a work order for it and assign it. It's making a note that there are warranties and that the technician needs to be careful they don't void those warranties when they work on the machine. The only other thing that I need to do is I want to assign someone to it. So I go in and go to the assigned field, and I'm going to pick Steve Pitsos as the technician that's going to perform this work. And I hit save. So let's back out here, and now let's log on as the technician, Steve Pitsos, and let's see what it looks like for him. We're going to ignore the mail messages because Steve's normal process is to go straight to the work order screen. And these are all the work orders that are assigned to him. At this point, Steve is going to go out and look at the work order, look at the equipment, make fixes, and then is going to come back and note what he did. The first thing he's going to do is he's going to issue a part. He went into the storeroom, which was an open storeroom with no one manning it, so he's going to take the part out, and he's going to come back to his workstation and note that he issued a part. So we go into the issue button. It takes us straight into the inventory issue screen. From here, I can go identify the part that we took. We took some oil. We took one container. The other thing we did is we needed to post an hour of my time, Steve's time to it. It notes his name already. I select an hour, and it charges it out to the appropriate place. And finally, we needed to order a non-stock part that wasn't kept in the storeroom. So I go to the requisition screen. I hit add. And at this point, I'm actually going into an internal corporate catalog. And I'm looking for an air filter that we don't carry in stock. I note that we need one. You'll notice that since it's coming from an internal corporate catalog, we know who the primary vendor is. We know the vendor's part number and the pricing. So all I had to do was identify the part number and the quantity. At this point, since I'm asking to spend money, I'm going to hit approve to authorize it route it for approval. It now pulls up a list of managers that's going to be routed for authorization. I can add comments, and it routes to my manager. And the only other thing that I may want to do on a work order is I may want to note the issue or the problem that we had. And in this case, we had a filter problem. Because the next step is after we enter in all this information is that we actually want to be able to go in and start analyzing it. Where are the problem areas? What piece of equipment is failing? Why is it failing? So that we know how to apply our resources. So at this point, we're going to go look at EAM dashboard and to see the results of the information we've been putting in. So what we've looked at is the EAM product itself. It's where the departments enter in information, transactions, get work done. And there's a lot of valuable information stored in that database. And in addition to the 700 standard reports inside of EAM, we've actually created 36 KPIs, industry standard KPIs around project engineering, plant maintenance, MRO inventory, and MRO purchasing. And what I want to do today is to actually go through one of these KPIs to give you an idea of how it works. Since we've been talking about planned and unplanned work, and that we obviously want to be focused on having more planned activities than unplanned, we thought we'd go into this KPI. And you can see here in the first screen, we have 73% of all the work done in the maintenance department has been classified as unplanned work, which is obviously not good. We would rather see that be 73% planned. I can drill into this, and depending on how I run the KPI, I can now look at it across multiple plants. So what I was actually looking at before and was across both my plants, what is the planned and unplanned ratio? And on this next screen, I'm actually seeing the percentage of planned and unplanned for plant 20 and plant 10. And we can see plant 20 actually has about 60% unplanned work versus 10% in plant 10. I'm going to drill into plant 20. And we can now actually see the distribution of unplanned work by month. And we can notice that in about March, we had a spike of unplanned work, so there was obviously something going on that we want to drill into. So let's take a closer look into this work. And here, I've actually brought it up and looked at it by cost center. And I can notice that the worst offender for unplanned work is cost center 4373, which is this unit 3, and that 23% of all the unplanned work in this plant comes from this one cost center. And so what I want to do is drill down into this, but before I do it, if you notice at the top, I can actually change the group by. So if I wanted to look at it not by cost center, but by type of equipment, I can change it. I can change the sort order. So we give the user the ability to tailor how this data is sorted and grouped and displayed. But in this case, I'm going to drill into cost center 4373. And now it lists the equipment inside of that department. And I can see that of all the equipment, 11% of the unplanned work is on this one piece of equipment here. And that in the month of March, where we saw the spike earlier, 19 of the 54 work orders, unplanned work orders, was done in this month. So I'm going to drill into March, and it will now show me the 19 work orders that made that up. And you notice it's interesting that we have all of them were filter failures, back to this clogged filter that we saw earlier. So this is something that's happening over and over and over again. We can at this point drill into one of the work orders. That we noticed it was a priority one, so it was a line down, which was not good. We drill into that, and I can look at detail behind the work order. I can see who actually requested it, what the original problem description was. I can see what parts were charged, how much labor was issued, all from this one screen. So we very quickly looked at the corporate view of our planned versus unplanned performance. We then compared that to the plant view. We then drilled down into the plant, looked at it across the months. Noticed that March was an issue. From there, we drilled down and saw that one particular cost center had more unplanned work than the others. We drilled into that, looking at the equipment in that cost center. Found the worst offender for that equipment. Drilled into that, saw that March was a bad month from there. Drilled into that and saw all 19 work orders were dealing with a clogged filter. So this is probably going to send the maintenance engineers back in to look at the filters and to try to understand, is there engineering problems, is there PMs that need to be created to help prevent this type of problem in the future. Well, hopefully that gives you an idea of what EAM is all about. If you're ready to get out of firefighting mode, think EAM and call QAD.